Okay, so hello, my name's Ben Rubinstein. I'm from COGAP, which is a small town in Brighton which has been afflicted by plague recently, which is why if you were looking for Andy Cummins or Neil Hawkins, I'm the best you're going to get. And I've just learnt that I don't seem to be able to make Google Slides do presentation, which possibly means movies won't work either. So this will be a voyage of discovery. So let me just tell you, COGAP, we're a digital agency, as I said, based in the plague-ridden Brighton, which is a small town on the south coast of England. And for the last 30 years or so, our work has primarily been with galleries, libraries, museums, archives, specializing in digital collections. And I'm just going to have to do this like this. And as a developer, I love IIIF. I'm not ashamed to say it in this room. I might be other places. And I don't know if my clients love it, but they certainly benefit from it without necessarily knowing it. But it can be a bit technical, as many of you possibly know. And the reason we're all doing this stuff is not so much for the kind of dirty and perverted pleasure we get from the programming and so on. It's also because I think we care about ideas and culture and the knowledge that can be shared and disseminated, and that's probably why we're mostly in this industry. The perverted kinks are just a benefit. And in relation to that, how do I do this? There we go. I think there are ways that we can tell less technical people and demonstrate to less technical people some of the benefits they can get from IIIF. And so this is something we did partly as a demonstrator, really, which we created for the IIIF conference at the Vatican a couple of years ago, something called Storiiies, which was a way of telling a narrative about, not solely, but in particular about a single work of art, but it might also have been a medical image, natural history, but really trying to be very, very simple and straightforward. And one of the things we wanted to show was the power of standards. So as shown on this slide, the principle is that the story is defined by annotations compliant with the IIIF presentation API, and that we can then present those in lots of different ways as kind of illustrated essay view, dynamic click-through. Well, you can read those things yourself. And if I show the next slide, we may or may not get to see this. Let's see what happens if I try and click this. One more time, absolutely nothing. Oh, here we go. So this is storiiies.cogap.com, loads of eyes, and so this is an auto run of a story, which you can see. So we're just panning and zooming across an image and displaying some interesting information about it. I mean, that's the whole idea. It's as simple as that. And as I said, I think I'll stop there, that's probably enough. It's all standards compliant. You can use the annotations, try and understand spec, use any compliant editor theoretically, or obviously the optimum thing is to just edit JSON directly yourself. But not everyone actually loves editing JSON. So the next step really is something we wanted to do for this conference. And in the way of things, people got a bit busy, so it's not quite as complete as we'd hoped, but to create a very, very simple editor for creating these stories. Again, at the moment, you supply the ID, the IIIF ID of your resource. Our intention is we'll just provide a simple way you can upload an image and we'll convert it and make it available through IIIF somewhere in the background. That part isn't yet been done. So let me just show you. This is one I did last night. Just have to figure out how to make this work. Haha. So you simply create a little bit of title data, author, description, and so on. This is an image I just found from the Bodleian, so I'm at least citing it. And as I say, at the moment, you have to type in a IIIF ID, or you can paste it in, as I did. So that's the image I found, and you simply add an annotation. You pan and zoom to where you want to be, and add an annotation. So that's what I'm going to do now. And you type it in. I'm pretty sure I understood what was going on in this image. And then you pan and zoom somewhere else and add another annotation. And as you, whenever you edit or create a new annotation and submit or save, it's saving whatever you've edited the text, but it's also saving your view, so you can just move around till you've got the view you want. And again, the whole point of this is to be simple, simple, simple. I think if you saw the first speaker in this session, on this series, briefly showed one of her annotations, that's complex stuff, and it's very precise. And you notice we're not letting you even drag out a rectangle to say, this is the eye I want to talk about. We're just saying, look, just go to roughly this bit of the image. And when you're playing back a story, and this is the typical kind of manual step through. So the movie I showed before was auto-run, but this is the way a typical story would be seen. The user clicks through. They can also be moving around the image. They're not just bound to these. They can move around, look at themselves, and then they can say, oh yeah, show me the next thing, or whatever. So that's how that works. And we have, as you would expect, the ability to go back and change things and reorder them. I'm entirely unconvinced that this is lobster, but it was late. I don't know what lobsters look like. I've never had one. So that, in a nutshell, is the Storiies editor. And for those who haven't seen them before, that's Storiies. And we don't know how people can use it. So what I should say is, Storiies exists already if you happen to be able to supply an annotation, a manifest with annotations. The idea is that we'll put this out. Sorry, I need to move to another slide, I should think. That we're going to put this out for people to just try, to have a go with, to use for whatever they want. Because of our background, we've been thinking about this as telling stories mainly about artwork. We were working with someone at the British Library who managed to tell us a fantastic story about an ancient Arabic manuscript. That was amazing. We had someone from who worked on natural history collection who a really disgusting, detailed explanation of the bits of a wasp. My colleague, our managing director, said the other day he thought you could use this to present spreadsheets, that a really nice picture of a spreadsheet and tell the story about, go over here and you'll see these numbers. We're really interested in what people can use this for. Teachers, maybe set up presentations, we don't know. So, as I say, we haven't got it quite as polished as we'd like to have before I stood up this morning, but we'll keep working on it next week or so. But in defiance of my colleagues, I'm saying, go and have a look at it anyway. It is in alpha. It may not be stable. Things may disappear. You probably will lose your work. But have a go, and do please send us any feedback at the pretty obvious address. You just have to remember that whenever we have an I, we have 3 I's, because IIIF. Please have a go, see what you think. If you leave it another week before you have a go, it'll be better, but then you'll have forgotten to do it. But please try. Thank you.